Kia ora, and welcome to week 2. Well, by this week we're getting into things. So by this time you should have requested a copy of your print materials. If you haven't done that, go into your course tools and print request and complete that form there. And a free copy of the print materials from this course will be sent to wherever you designate your address or campus for pickup. So do that if you haven't done that already. You should have read discussion 1, where I talk a little bit about writing in general and genre work, and talk about some of the pitfalls of genre work. So we've looked at 3 great genre stories there that I don't think succumb to any of the problems that beginning writers can have with writing genre. But essentially, I recommend against writing genre work for the following reasons. First of all, people generally tend to set the bar too low, which good writing never does, whether it's genre or not. They tend to give themselves a kind of allowance when writing genre, and also when reading it. When we critique genre work, I've noticed in workshop time and time again, students will allow a story to get away with things that they wouldn't if it were a literary story, which I don't think is very useful. So please read that, particularly if you're wanting to write genre fiction. As you'll see, there's always a loophole, and there's one in there about writing genre fiction. But basically, it has to adhere to the same sort of standards that we would expect of any good story. So yeah, including playing with the genre itself a little bit and taking some of its conventions in hand and questioning them and helping them evolve a little. So you should have read that discussion. The next discussion is on voice. You'll want to read that and the 3 associated stories for this week. It's important to read these stories as they give you examples of short fiction in action. A lot of people come to fiction writing and haven't read much short fiction. That's fine, but the reading is the important sort of backbone or spine of the class. Just as importantly, by now you should have set aside a committed time to write. I ask everybody in that first video to set aside a time that they can commit to every week. Minimum of 2 hours, 3 or 4 is preferable. If you haven't done that, it's a problem. You need to do that. Alarm bells should be going off. You should have a regular routine of writing set up, and you should be writing. And this is going to help move you into your first story, which is due, just to let you know, in week 4 for week 5. Some people will be workshopping in week 6, so those will be due in week 5. But it's coming up very quickly. So where do you begin? That's a good question. There's a great thread that someone asked some question about how do I use the writing exercises, and there's a great thread online in the discussion forum about how you might usefully use writing exercises. But briefly, in a nutshell, these are entrances into possible ways of writing, and any entrance you have is a good entrance. So the main purpose of a writing exercise is not to sort of stick to the task and do the exercise exactly, but rather to distract that logical, rational part of your brain so that the intuitive, associative part of your brain can get carried away and find its way into the story. You know, one of the things a student said to me in the internal version of this class this week was, I always start trying to write what I'm meant to write, and then my brain just takes me another direction. And I said, well, that other direction is the story. What you're meant to write, your idea, is just to get you to the page. But the actual writing is a process of discovery that you find once you're on the page. So I hope you'll get into writing your stories. This week, I'm going to divide students into tutorial groups. And then toward the end of the week, we'll put up polls in each group for when the tutors are available for online workshops. So think about these times and days that they post very carefully so you can sign up for one, because when you sign up for a workshop time, you're making a commitment. So the idea is that you will be there for your own workshop when your story is workshopped, yes, but that you will participate in your peers' workshops as well so that they can have your feedback and your participation when it's time to workshop their story. So give that a careful thought about what time you can commit to. If none of the times work out, but you really, really want to workshop, you can talk to the tutor, email them, and see if you can arrange something. If you simply can't arrange a time, which does happen sometimes, and I'm sorry about that, everyone's busy, you'll need to join up for a moderated peer review group. And if that happens, there's much less logistics involved. So generally, we deal with the workshops first and scheduling them, and then we deal with setting up a time for submission deadlines for the moderated peer review groups. But essentially, they happen around the same time. But your tutor will inform you of that and walk you through that process. If you have any questions whatsoever, please put them on the discussion forum, including questions about the material or questions about writing, big picture questions. These are all valid, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Might take me a day or two. Don't get alarmed. I am reading them. I will check them out, and I will respond to them all. So I hope you're enjoying this class, and hopefully I'll talk to some of you on the forum this week. Take care.